Well, good morning. Hopefully you have paper out right now because you're going to be taking notes on this video like usual, and you'll be turning them into Mrs. Moan tomorrow. So make sure you are writing down everything that we're doing. And just to remind you, today we're working on our learning target number 10, which is finding a rule to extend a pattern. And then today we're now bringing into this making a table. So if you see a sequence now, you have to turn it into a table and then extend the rule, find a pattern. All right, here we go. This problem was actually taken right out of your textbook. If you ever are studying the Greeks, this has to do with them. So it says, do numbers have geometric shapes? The Pythagoreans and other ancient Greeks thought so. They classified numbers based on the patterns that regularly spaced coins or pebbles formed. So you can kind of see what they did right here. They would look at pebbles and see if they were to make shapes. So in this case, they make a triangle. So for example, they called the number 6 a triangular number because 6 pebbles can be arranged to form an equilateral triangle, just like what I showed you. So if you look at that, you want to ask yourself, well, how many pebbles are in here? So we count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So they said that 6 is a triangular number because it makes a triangle. You could also say that just 1 is a triangular number because 1 pebble makes a triangle. You could also say that, let's make a triangle here. How many pebbles are in that triangle? Should have said 3. 1, 2, 3. So the Pythagoreans said, hey, 3 is a triangular number. So far, they found this pattern. So they said, if you look down here, 1 makes a triangle, 3 makes a triangle. Up here we have 6, 6 makes a triangle, and they basically give you the next one for 10. If you drew a picture of that, what would it look like? So let's see if we notice that they're adding 1 on each time. So here there's 1, here there's 2, here there's 3, so we're going to add on 4 to the next row. And so now if we look at our triangular number, makes a triangle. How many pebbles? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that's where they got the next term in our sequence, 10. So one way is to look at that visual to see what's going to be the next number. The second way is to just look at our sequence down here. We have 1, 3, 6, and 10. And one key word that you need to know is this word right here, sequence. And a sequence is just an ordered list. There's usually a pattern to it. Let's see what's next here. If you take those triangular numbers and you wrote it just as a sequence like this, there's 2 key words that you need to know. The word term and term number. And in just a little bit, I'm going to have you pause the video and have you write down what you think those are. So here's basically what a term is. Each number or object in a sequence is a term, and it can be labeled with a term number. So for example, 1 is a term, 3 is a term, 6 is a term, 15 is a term. Those are all terms. Now what term number is what number or order it is in the actual sequence. For example, this term 6 right here, if you count, that's 1, 2, 3, so it's the third term. The third term is 6. If I asked you, hey, what is the 5th term? What would you say is the 5th term? 1, 2, 3, 4. You'd say the 5th term is, hopefully you thought 15. If I said, what's the 2nd term? You should count over 1, 2. The 2nd term is 3. So when I say term number, it just means what number in order of my sequence here. And when I say term, it just means, hey, 10 is a term. So that's what term and term number mean. So right now on your paper, let's just do a random sequence here. We'll do 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and so on. Write that sequence down on your paper. Now that you've written it down on your paper, will you circle the 4th term number? if you did this right, you would have gone over 1, 2, 3, 4, and we would say that the fourth term number is 8. Those should be in your notes. Feel free to pause the video to slow me down. Okay, now I'm going to be moving on. We've already done this. Next step, we take our sequence and we put it into a table. So there are other triangular numbers besides 6. We already talked about the first 4 being 1, 3, 6, and 10, but we do know that there's more. And you can use a table to organize these terms and term numbers in a sequence. So basically, when you start your table, and don't write this one down, just kind of watch. You'll be writing the other ones down. First thing you want to start with is the term number. And the term number is usually on the top, and we can just write in order term 1, term 2, 3, 4, because we always know we're just going to start 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all the way up. So after 4, we know would be 5, and then 6, 7, 8, 9. We could keep going, but we're just going to stop there. Now, the second part is the term. And this is where your sequence goes. So hopefully you've seen the correlation up here. Here's my first term number, and it's right there. Second term number is 3, so I put it there. Third term number is 6. Fourth term number is 10, so it's written there. Now what you need to do is come up with a rule to figure out how do I get the fifth term, sixth term, and so on. So that's the next step. Explaining the rule. We're down here right now. Explain the rule using the term and term number, then complete the table. All right, so how do I get a rule when I'm looking at this? We did a little bit of work on this last week in class where you had to figure out what comes next. So first thing you want to do is just see what's happening between each term number. What happens between 1 and 3? Between 1 and 3, you know you're going to be either multiplying by 3 or adding 2. Let's go to the next term. What happens between a 3 and a 6? What do I do to 3 to get 6? Well, you could say you either add 3 or times 2. Right now I'm looking at it, and I don't think it's going to be the multiplying one because it has to be the same operations that I'm doing. So we're going to just see what happens if I keep adding. What do I do to 6 to get it to be 10? Should have thought add 4. Hopefully you see a pattern right now. Add 2, add 3, add 4. What do you think is going to happen next? Add 5. Hopefully you figured out after adding 5 you add 6, add 7, and so on. So if we were to write down my rule, you would say start with 1. That's the first thing in my term. So I start with 1. Then what do you do after that? Add the next consecutive number. Consecutive means like in order, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that would be my rule. So now after you've come up with a rule, you need to go back up to your table and add in what we need. So we know we have a 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I know I need to add 5 to my 10. 10 plus 5 is 15. Then I know I need to do 15 plus 6. 15 plus 6 is 21. Now add 7. 21 plus 7 is 28. What do you think you're going to add next? Plus 8. 28 plus 8 is 36. And then add 9. 36 plus 9 equals 45. And our sequence could keep going and going and going. But that's how you take a rule and then make a table from a sequence. All right, now you're going to be trying this. Right now, will you write the sequence on your paper? You might want to pause the video when you're done writing the sequence down. Play it. Okay, so it says to make a table showing the term numbers and the terms of the sequence. Then find the next two terms. So right now, your table, you're going to be doing this with me. Make a table that looks like this, and the first thing we need to do is label term number, and down here we need to label it term. Again, pause the video if I'm going too fast. Now at the top for term number, this is the easy part. We just know that there's going to be a first term number, a second, a third, a fourth, a fifth, and so on. So that's the easiest part to do. For the term, you can just take your sequence up here and start filling it in. I know this is the first term, so the 1 goes there. This is my second term, third term, and so on. So now we need to come up with a rule to be able to figure out what are my next missing terms right here. So to get the rule, you need to ask yourself, what are you doing to 1 to get 3? I can say I'm either adding 2, maybe it's a multiplying problem. Maybe I'm multiplying by 3. I'm not sure yet. Let's do the next one to see if we can find a pattern. What do I do to 3 to get 7? Well, I know I add 4, and there's nothing I can multiply evenly up with a whole number. So right now, I'm going to say it's probably not going to be multiplication. Let's go to here. What do I do from 7 to get 13? What do I do to 7? Well, I know I add it by 6. So I'm actually starting to see a pattern. Plus 2, plus 4, plus 6. I'm guessing it's adding even numbers. So is that true here? If I add 8 onto 13, do I get 21? And yes. So hopefully you have found the rule. So let's write the rule down. You want to start with 1. It's the first thing in your sequence. Then add the next even number each time. So there's our rule. So then that tells me the next even number after 8 would be 10. So I need to add 10. So 21 plus 10 equals 31. After 10, the next even number is 12. So add 12. 31 plus 12. I always need to do some scratch work. I got 43. So that would be, the 7th term would be 43. So if I quickly asked you to review these terms and term numbers, if I said, hey, what is the 3rd term? You would say 7. I hope you said 7. All right, next problem. Again, make sure all this is written down, so pause it if you need. Oop, wrong. Hold on here. My smartboard file went crazy. All right, here we go. Next sequence. This is number 2. So first thing you need to do is write 3, 9, 15, 21, and 27 down on your paper. Next, we need to make a table showing the term numbers and the terms. So go ahead and do that. Do you remember how you're supposed to title these two? On the top, you put term number. Very sloppy, sorry. And on the bottom, you label it term. On the top, you're going to just write the numerical order, one and all the way up. I think I need one more too. because we need to add the next two. And then you simply take your sequence, which is above, and you add